Now, we talked about the history and about camp itself. Um, let's just talk a little bit about, you mentioned each week has a specialty, and maybe April, you can tell us a little bit about the benefits of having them together during the focus and where do you see the differences between a camp, a girl camp or a co-op camp or what have you, but a camp of this speciality?
Sure. Okay, well, we talked that camp is important for all children. I really believe in camp. But for children who have a unique life challenge, it's that tenfold. The interesting thing is it doesn't matter really what the unique life challenge is.
What would a unique life challenge be,
so that's
just
a good
for
example.
those who...
So, and people confuse it sometimes with us saying that, is it a disability? We have lots of children with disabilities because we take children of all abilities within the unique life challenge.
Okay.
So the difference is a unique life challenge is anything that a child would have to go through that most children don't have to go through in the world. So that's what we mean by unique, and it's a bit more rare. But when a group comes with a challenge, and sometimes it's so rare they don't know other children even that would have the same challenge. And some examples, I'll go through just some of who our groups are, and that's the easiest way to share it. So children of the military families, they have the unique challenge of their parents being deployed or going away from them for unlimited amounts of time. The anxiety of, are they going to be okay? When are they going to come back? Having to pick up and move schools at a moment's notice in the middle of semester sometimes, sometimes to a different country with their family, and having to make new friends and pack up again and leave some stuff behind.
You don't think about these things.
You don't think
it's
about
like
them.
You're like
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's kids of military. We have kids of heroes, and these are any type of heroes, include first responder as well as military, who their parents have an operational stress injury due to their service. And those kids go through a lot as well, that they're...
Change in life?
Yeah, their parents, by being heroes, they injured their brain and have changed the family forever. And the kids themselves are heroes, that they support their parents in their new challenges. So we have that group, kids of heroes, and we have children as well who are from under-resourced families as well, and from our local communities. We have children who have dwarfism as well, and children who have facial differences. That's a group. Children who are grieving the death of a parent or a sibling, and so that's a supportive group as well. And children with Tourette syndrome. And our last group that has just joined us this year, hot off the press, is children with Down syndrome.
Okay, that's a lot of groups.
It's a lot of different groups. And anyways, and they're all unique, but the camp itself is got a lot of commonalities. So when kids come together, I like to say that one day at camp is like 7 in the city. It's like dog years, right? That's how fast you bond. When they get off the boat, they might not know a soul. And by the end of the week, our number one goal, so we have 6 goals at the camp, the number one goal is friendships that follow you home.
Well, that's what you brought home in that camp or that cabin, at grade 8 or at 8 years old.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we want them to make the seed is here, and then when they go home, they're going to keep in touch. Even though we don't have social media at camp, we encourage it in the city because that's how they keep in touch.
Because they're coming from distances.
Yeah.
To a central, yeah.
Exactly, and kids who are friends, who are going through the same things, they learn from each other. They get resilience from learning they're not alone, and what are the other tips that the other kids go through? How do they deal with bullies? How, all of this kind of stuff. How do they adapt if it's a physical thing, how do they adapt their environment? So they learn from each other, and they realize wow, you know what? People understand what I'm going through, even if they have never met another child with that challenge before. And so by it following them home, this friendship, then it's really the fancy term is peer support. There's no better peer support than friendship because it's the real thing.
They can relate to each other and help each other.
And they can call each other up or send a text when they've had a bad day and know that they have friends all over the place.
Life therapy.
Yeah. So So it's amazing. So they get all of this stuff from coming to camp for a week. So yes, we do canoeing and musical theater and rock walls and carnivals, but it's the conversations that happen in the canoes between the kids in a safe environment that make camp that important in the development, and a lot of people call it therapeutic, and there's therapy in friendship.
Yeah.
So that's what I think. Yeah.
Kim,
Yes, Jason. I agree with it, of course. 'cause
on the
that's
purpose of Camp Maple
Yes,
Leaf.
yes, and I just to kind of expand on it a little bit, I think that the ability with these unique children, one of the benefits, the support benefits, is meeting other children with unique challenges. And then when a 9-year-old girl with a birthmark on the left side of her face meets another 9-year-old girl who has a cleft palate, and they say, hey you, hey me, yeah, you know, I'm not alone in the world, there's somebody else who
I'm dealing with the same challenges.
that's right. And that is a huge measure of support for those children. And the parents of those children recognize that and are anxious that their child receive that support from its peers, be it male or female. And so I think that is one of the things that is really important about the groups that we deal with, because we have children whose parents actually send them. There is a child with Tourette's syndrome in Happy Valley, Goose Bay, Labrador, whose parents drive him to
Labrador.
Labrador,
Okay.
to Camp Maple Leaf in the Kawarthas in Ontario every summer, because they know and believe how important that week at camp for that 14-year-old boy with Tourette's syndrome is to be with other children who have similar challenges. And we have children coming by plane from other parts of the country. So it's a meeting point for those children to be with each other and to realize that they aren't alone in the world, and to share stories about how they cope with their uniqueness, if you will.
That kind of validates the importance, because if people are willing to do that commitment, come in from across the country for this 1 week, makes you think, what, you know, they're doing it for their kids. So,
And they see the results when the kids
well,
get
that's
home,
what I
too.
mean. That's the true value, is like they're willing to sacrifice that to make sure their kids get there for
And
that
then they
week.
have to stay for a week at a cottage.
Right, because
or,
they're
like,
not.
rent a
Yeah.
place,
So it's like,
right?
all right, then yeah, okay.
And then you
So
drive back. That's
right. So that's a commitment, right? So that's
Yeah.
really validating the value in what's happening to these children.
Generally in the
Wonderful.
camping industry, parents learned over the years that parents, be it camp or be it organized sports or be it piano music, or parents will always step up if they can to make sure that an experience that they believe is important for their child, that
Right.
their child get that experience.
They'll make that commitment.
They will. And so we're, Camp Maple Leaf and so many other camps in Ontario and Canada and in North America are fortunate that there are that many people who recognize the value of the experience and are willing to send their children to camp year after year after year.
Excellent.